Will you be able to afford basic necessities, let alone luxuries, in 2010? If this year's economic recession was anything to go by, maybe you should start, to use the words of Prime Minister Patrick Manning, tightening your belts as we take a trip back to the economic realities of 2009. It's official. In 2009, this country experienced a financial recession brought on by the global financial crisis that began in the US last year. But don't ask the government if you want to be sure. All they gave us was conflicting statements and signals. The year began in January with an announcement by Prime Minister Patrick Manning via an address to the nation that he would be embarking on a major budget cutback and telling citizens to tighten their belts.
There will be a slowdown in construction of new schools. The new hospitals planned for Couva and Port of Spain will have to be deferred.
But the bigger shock was yet to come. The announcement of the sudden crash of Lawrence Dupre's empire CL Financial, which saw the government spending over $15 billion in a bailout package that left one of the richest, most powerful business conglomerates on its knees.
Our problem is not the problem of the United States. That's a completely different problem, and it will have a completely different effect.
To add to the controversy, it was alleged that Finance Minister Karen Nunes-Teixeira withdrew up to $20 million from CLICO just about the time government was engaged in the bailout talks, prompting a no-confidence motion against her in Parliament and the DPP probing her for allegations of insider trading. She rejected opposition calls for her to resign from the cabinet.
And she was foolish to get herself involved in that. It was worse, the disingenuous way she spoke to Parliament about not knowing the difference between what has been rolled over or what was a new deposit.
And
you have to be
Minister
pretty stupid
of Finance,
for anybody to accept that she didn't know that the deposits
It was an insult
broken.
again.
Yeah.
And in the throes of the CL financial crash, by mid-year, amid growing unemployment from major private companies, retrenching several members of their staffs, independent economists were warning that according to standard figures, this country was in a recession, prompting damage control and contradictory statements from government and the central bank governor.
None of the available data suggest that we are in recession or that suggest that a recession is around the corner. I am seriously worried that from where we are at 14.8%, if we don't get our act together, we're going to find ourselves much worse off, and very quickly.
And to add controversy to the contradictions, the government implemented the new property taxes regime to considerable protest. Literally.
They feel that so much money is already being wasted in this country and so much corruption is taking place. We are doing a petition and trying to get the people's responses in writing.
I am serving notice that if you pass this law in the way that it is framed, we are going to take you to court.
The government should have no apology to make for wanting to increase taxation.
Turn around
it's the expenditure.
All of the things that my taxes are supposed to buy, I then have to turn around and buy them again. Yeah. That's my problem.
I have to pay
our oil and gas revenue
security.
Is subsidizing
we have to pay for all
everything.
Of those things.
The $2 billion.
And more than that, the ruling PNM continued to invest money in the big building projects that many believe were the main cause of this country's recession.
The Prime Minister talked about he wants to see tall buildings in the cities and rolling hills in the country. I never forgot that statement about a year and a half or two ago. Now, all of those buildings about, say, the Ministry of Legal Affairs, the Tower, this other one, and so on,
Hotel.
they are all, well, apart from the Hyatt, I'm talking about the old ones that are empty.
They have unfinished buildings and they've stopped.
Well, people stopped lending them money to build the buildings.
Well,
and our problem is we're continuing to mortgage our energy future to build buildings. And none of that is actually transforming the economy to find a way to generate self-sustained growth outside of the energy sector.
And the predictions for the economy in 2010 are dire.
Big problem we face now is it's going to be a lot harder to paper over the cracks when if the economy goes really bad.
It will be a very, very slow recovery, a fragile recovery. And we cannot conceive of a proper recovery until government can balance its budget. We're facing an $8 billion deficit this year. And that deficit does not include stuff that we finance off balance sheet, like Alutrint, is to spend everything and save nothing. And I wish we had saved a great deal more over the years. The Little Heritage Fund of $16 billion was roughly about 4 months' expenditure. It was nothing big. And we're at the mercy of the world's economy.
So all that's left for me to do now is find out what's your New Year's wish for Trinidad and Tobago in 2010.
Well, I simply want people in politics to come to grips with the real problems of the country and offer real and detailed solutions.
Yeah, they'll realize, take heed honestly, that the people are dissatisfied. The average person is unhappy with this government. Think of it, and you have about 2.5 years or so to realize that maybe I can do something. All of that will talk about transparency and we care and all of that. Let it not just be old talk.
We mustn't entertain ourselves with the irrelevant, like the UF Commission, and Parliament is talking about things that really don't concern the people. We're building grand buildings and things, but we're missing the important things that affect daily lives, which is getting ourselves an efficient and effective police service. We need to increase that from 7,000 to 10,000 officers. We need to get a police commission. There are a lot of basic things that need to be done.
Yes.
Well, we hope their wishes come true as well as yours. And remember, in the new year, one thing will not change. The fact that TV6 News will continue to be your #1 choice for news, current affairs and all programs. From all of us here at TV6, have a wonderful, prosperous, blessed 2010. And I'll see you next year. For TV6 News, I'm Sasha Mohammed.